All right, looks like we're taking a deep dive into K-pop today,
Oh, yeah.
specifically Jimin and Jungkook from BTS.
Sounds like a good one.
You've sent in quite the collection.
Definitely.
Articles, charts, I even see some personal notes here.
Lots to unpack.
So clearly these two are on your radar,
For sure.
and you seem interested in not just like their music, but also
Yeah.
what they're doing off the stage as well, their impact.
And exactly.
Okay, well, let's just dive right in then.
Let's do it.
First off, the charts.
Yeah.
Billboard year-end charts, global rankings, Spotify streaks.
It is.
It's a lot. Some of these numbers, I have to say, kind of make my head spin a little.
Well, let's break it down then.
Yeah.
Let's start with probably the most significant thing here. Billboard's year-end charts.
Okay.
Huge deal for any artist to land on these charts.
Yeah.
Let alone solo K-pop artists.
Right.
Really speaks to their global reach.
Yeah. And Jungkook's performance is especially eye-catching. He came in at number 80 on the Billboard 200 for Golden. And that's the highest for any Korean artist this year.
Wow.
That's going to be pretty significant.
That's a big achievement for sure.
Yeah.
You know, because remember, Billboard 200, it's not genre specific.
Right.
So he's up against pop stars, rappers, everyone.
Everyone.
So for him to hit that ranking, it suggests that his music is really resonating beyond just the K-pop fandom.
Wow. And he didn't stop there, number 60 on the top artist chart.
Yeah.
Again, the highest of all the Korean artists. So
it's impressive.
it's not just album sales, right? It's
Right.
like overall impact throughout the entire year.
Yeah, his overall presence.
Yeah. What do you think is driving this sort of widespread appeal?
Well, I think his willingness to blend genres is a big factor.
Okay.
You can hear that in Golden. He's got pop, R&B, even some rock influences.
Okay.
And that broadens his appeal. So he's pulling in listeners that may not typically,
Right.
listen to K-pop or
Right.
delve into that world.
Okay. So that makes sense. And speaking of global appeal, both him and Jimin charted multiple songs on the Billboard Global 200.
Yeah.
And I see you highlighted Jungkook's 7 in the notes here.
Right.
It peaked at number 15. Very impressive.
Absolutely. And that chart's all about global streams and sales.
Right.
So for 7 to reach number 15, it means people all over the world were really hooked on that song.
That is something else. And
It is.
But we can't forget Jimin, like crazy, coming in at 154, who at 106 on that same chart.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no small feat.
No, not at all.
It's still on the Billboard Global 200, so
Exactly.
that's incredible.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Jimin's sound is a bit different from Jungkook's.
Yeah.
It leans a bit more towards that
Okay.
sensual, sophisticated vibe.
Okay.
It really makes you wonder,
Yeah.
what is it about Jimin that's resonating so strongly, especially in Korea?
Well, he did hold that #1 spot on Spotify, Korea's daily top artist chart, for 500 days.
Wow.
Straight.
That's wild.
I mean, I can barely keep a houseplant alive for that long.
Right.
What is the secret sauce?
I think it's a combo of things.
Okay.
His music definitely taps into something very specific within the Korean music scene.
Yeah.
His vocals are just incredibly expressive.
Right.
And his persona, it's this blend of charisma and vulnerability that really resonates deeply with fans.
Okay, and you mentioned persona, and it made me think about a note you made about Jimin holding the top 2 spots for the longest running #1 songs
Oh, wow.
on Spotify Korea, like crazy, at 268 days. Who? At 144 and counting.
Yeah.
So is it purely the music, or is there something more?
It's tough to say definitively.
Yeah.
But think about it. 500 days at #1 on the artist chart that sustained engagement.
Right.
It means that fans aren't just passively listening, they're actively seeking out his music.
Wow.
Day after day.
Yeah.
So there's a real emotional connection there.
Okay, so we've got these two artists completely dominating the charts. But it looks like you're also interested in what they're doing outside of the music as well, right?
Yes. You've flagged some articles about their philanthropic work.
Right, and it's pretty impressive stuff.
It is.
You circled Jimin's donation to the Military Mutual Aid Association.
Right.
And it was a pretty substantial amount, especially considering he's currently fulfilling his military service.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a big deal.
Huge. 100 million KRW to the Fund for Patriotism and Comradeship
Wow.
while actively serving.
Wow.
It's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
Shows where his priorities lie,
Yeah.
even while he's got this demanding schedule.
Right. And then there's his donation to the Busan Habitat Challenge,
Oh, yeah.
which you also marked here.
Yes.
Fill me in on that one because I'm not as familiar.
Okay, so the Busan Habitat Challenge focuses on improving living conditions for elderly residents in Busan,
Okay.
creating safe, accessible spaces for seniors who might be struggling.
Oh, wow.
It's all about community and care.
So not only is he topping charts, but right, he's also actively working to improve people's lives.
He is.
That's quite a combination.
It is. It speaks to a certain level of awareness,
Mm-hmm.
responsibility, understanding the influence he holds, and choosing to use it for good.
Okay, so we've got chart domination,
Yeah.
philanthropic endeavors.
We do.
But there's another piece of this puzzle that we haven't
Mm-hmm.
touched on yet, and that's awards.
Yes, it seems you're very interested in their award wins this year.
Yeah. Let's start with Jimin.
Okay.
Snagging that Visa Fans Choice of the Year award at the Mama Awards, that's a big deal
Huge.
in the K-pop world, right?
It is.
Especially because it's a daesang, a grand prize.
Absolutely. It's a huge honor.
Yeah.
Mama Awards are massive, and to win that specific award means widespread recognition
Yeah.
from both fans and the industry.
Okay.
And for him to win that while he's fulfilling his military service,
Wow.
it's really remarkable.
Yeah, it's not like he was out there campaigning or, doing the whole
Right.
awards circuit thing. He's literally serving his country.
Yeah.
And the recognition is finding him anyway.
It really does.
That's wild.
It speaks to a lasting impact that transcends physical presence.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Best K-Pop Award at the MTV EMAs.
Yeah.
Another major international win.
Right.
Further solidifying that global reach.
Okay, now on to Jungkook. 2 Billboard Music Awards. Wins
Yeah.
for top K-pop album and top global K-pop song, and both of those while he's away on service as well.
Yeah.
Are we seeing a trend here?
It's quite striking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Both of them achieving major milestones while fulfilling their national duty.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, what does this say about their artistry?
Yeah.
The dedication of their fan bases?
It's almost like their absence amplifies their achievements even more.
Yeah.
They're not out there actively promoting, but their work is still resonating.
It really is.
And winning awards and...
It's a testament to the genuine connection they've built with their audiences.
Right.
And it speaks to the power of their music, transcending geographical boundaries and even physical presence.
Okay, so we've got chart domination, philanthropic work, award recognition, and all this while they're fulfilling their military service.
Yep.
So it's safe to say both Jimin and Jungkook are exceeding expectations on multiple fronts.
They are.
So what I'm curious about is what fueled this success? What sets them apart?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one we should definitely explore.
Yeah.
But before we dive into that, I'm curious,
Okay.
what's standing out to you so far?
Okay.
What's piqued your interest the most?
Honestly, it's their individual styles that I find so fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
They came from the same group, but their solo work feels so distinct. It's like they've kind of each found their own lane within this whole massive K-pop world.
Yeah.
And, I find that really compelling about K-pop in general. It's the diversity.
Not a monolith, as some people might assume.
Right.
You've got pop, R&B, hip-hop,
Yeah.
even rock influences all under this umbrella.
Yeah.
And Jimin and Jungkook are really pushing those boundaries,
Okay.
carving out their own spaces.
Yeah, that's what's got me hooked. So for someone like you, who's clearly more familiar with these two, paint me a sonic picture.
Okay.
What's the Jimin vibe?
Well, with Jimin, you often get this sensual, sophisticated sound.
Oh.
Think sleek production, intricate choreography, kind of a smoldering intensity on stage.
Okay.
His vocals are incredibly expressive.
Yeah.
Which really adds to that whole vibe.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. And I remember you mentioned in the notes that you were drawn to his vocals.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, his recent award wins must be pretty validating for him.
I would think so. And his music often incorporates elements of contemporary R&B and pop.
Yeah.
Creating this really smooth, almost hypnotic sound.
Hypnotic, good word.
Yeah.
And then you have Jungkook,
Yeah.
who seems to bring a completely different energy.
Totally.
I've only listened to a few of his songs, but they definitely feel more youthful.
Yeah.
Energetic.
Exactly. He's comfortable experimenting across genres.
Okay.
Blending pop, rock, even hints of hip-hop in there.
Yeah.
And his vocals are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
He's got this amazing range and power.
Okay.
But he can also be incredibly tender, vulnerable
in
his delivery.
It's funny because I actually jotted down versatile in my notes next to his name.
Makes sense.
It's like he can pull off any style.
Yeah.
And still sound authentically Jungkook.
And his songwriting often reflects that useful exploration.
Okay.
There's a sense of introspection, grappling with themes of love, self-discovery, navigating life in your 20s.
It's interesting because in a way they almost represent like two different sides of the K-pop coin, you know?
Right.
You have Jimin, the sophisticated, polished artist, and then you have Jungkook with this youthful energy and genre-bending experimentation.
Yeah, and it's fascinating how their journeys are kind of unfolding in parallel.
Yeah.
Even with both of them currently serving their mandatory military service.
Right. And speaking of that, you marked a few points about that in your notes.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's a unique aspect of their careers.
It is.
Especially for those of us who aren't as familiar with the whole Korean context.
For sure.
So, yeah, I was curious about that process. I know it's a big deal in South Korea.
It is.
But I'll admit I don't fully understand the ins and outs of it.
Well, it stems from the country's history.
Okay.
And its ongoing tensions with North Korea.
Right.
Essentially, all able-bodied men are required to serve for about 18 months.
Wow.
It's a major commitment.
Yeah.
And it inevitably affects the careers of many.
Yeah.
Including K-pop idols.
So it's not just a quick little thing. It's like a significant pause from their professional lives.
Yeah.
It must be pretty challenging to navigate.
It is. But it's also seen as a time for personal growth. Reflection. Many idols come back from their service with a renewed sense of purpose. New maturity.
And in the case of Jimin and Jungkook, it hasn't stopped them from achieving incredible things. Chart records, awards, philanthropy. It's almost like they're defying expectations.
I think it speaks to their resilience, their dedication to their craft, and also, let's not forget, the role of their fan bases, who've been incredibly supportive throughout their service.
That's another thing I was curious about, the whole fandom aspect of K-pop. I've heard about it, but I've also seen it get a bit of a bad rap sometimes.
Well, K-pop fandoms are definitely passionate and organized. They play a huge role in promoting their idols. Streaming their music, supporting their endeavors. It's a force to be reckoned with.
And in Jimin and Jungkook's case, their fandoms have been instrumental in keeping their names in the spotlight, you know, organizing charity events in their honor. Keeping the energy alive while they're away. That's some serious dedication.
It is. It's a testament to the strength of the bond between K-pop artists and their fans. It's something quite unique to this genre, I think. This connection, it often goes beyond the typical artist-fan relationship.
So it's not just about, like, screaming at concerts.
Oh, yeah, of course, that's part of it.
Buying albums, although I'm sure that's part of it, too.
Yes.
But it's also about...
Yeah, it becomes about community, about shared values.
Wow.
You see it in the charitable work, the activism, the way fans mobilize to support causes that their idols champion.
It almost feels like a collective force, for good, in a way. You know, we've seen how Jimin and Jungkook are using their platforms to philanthropy, and their fans are right there with them, amplifying that impact.
It's a fascinating dynamic.
It is.
And it raises an interesting point about the evolution of fandom culture. It's not just about passive consumption anymore. It's about active participation, making a difference.
Wow. I have to admit my initial perception of K-pop fandom was way too simplistic. It's clearly a much more complex and nuanced landscape.
It is, and it's constantly evolving.
But
getting back to Jimin and Jungkook. We've covered their individual styles, their resilience during their military service, the power of their fan bases. But there's still this big question looming.
You mean the elephant in the room, BTS?
Exactly.
What happens when they come back from service? What does the future hold for them both individually and as a group?
That's the question on everyone's mind. And it's a question with a lot of potential answers. But before we dive into speculation, I'm curious. What are your initial thoughts? What comes to mind when you consider their post-military careers?
I mean, honestly, my mind goes straight to a BTS reunion. I mean, they achieved a level of global stardom that's pretty unprecedented, even for K-pop. You know, their impact on music and culture, even diplomacy, it's hard to ignore.
You're right. Their influence extends far beyond the music industry.
Right.
They've broken down barriers,
Yeah.
challenged stereotypes, and inspired millions worldwide.
For sure.
The anticipation for their reunion is definitely palpable.
So, putting on my prediction hat here for a second.
Okay.
What are the chances of a BTS comeback once everybody's completed their service?
It's impossible to say for sure.
Okay.
But I think it's highly likely.
Yeah.
The members have repeatedly expressed their desire to continue making music together.
Mm-hmm.
And their bond as artists and as friends seems incredibly strong.
Yeah. And from everything we've talked about today, that definitely comes across. It seems like they genuinely support each other even while exploring their own individual paths.
Exactly. And I think their time apart, both serving their country and pursuing solo careers, will ultimately make their reunion even more powerful.
Yeah.
They'll each bring new experiences and perspectives, which could lead to some incredibly interesting creative collaborations.
I'm already getting excited just thinking about it.
Right.
But even if we set aside the BTS reunion for a moment, what about their solo careers?
Right.
What can we expect from Jimin and Jungkook post-military service?
That's a question generating a lot of buzz.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that they'll both come back with a renewed sense of purpose.
Okay.
Maybe even a new maturity reflected in their music.
Yeah.
This time away could serve as a creative reset, allowing them to explore new ideas and influences.
It's almost like hitting the refresh button.
Right.
But with all the experiences and growth.
Yeah, they've gained during their service.
Exactly.
Right.
And given their willingness to experiment, I wouldn't be surprised to see them venturing even further outside of traditional K-pop.
Okay.
Maybe collaborations with artists from different genres, exploring new sounds.
Yeah.
Who knows what they'll come up with?
Okay, now I'm really excited.
Right.
We've already seen them break records and exceed expectations while serving in their country. To think they might come back even stronger?
Yeah.
With new ideas and a fresh perspective?
Absolutely.
That's pretty incredible.
It is.
It really is.
And it speaks to something we've touched on throughout this whole deep dive.
Yeah.
The power of evolution. Jimin and Jungkook, both as individuals and potentially as part of BTS, are constantly evolving.
It's true.
And that's what makes them so captivating to follow.
All right, so let's wrap things up.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from chart-topping hits.
Yeah, we have.
To philanthropic work, from the intricacies of military service to the power of fandom.
We've been everywhere.
We've explored their individual styles, their global impact, and what the future might hold.
It's exciting.
So to our listener, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity.
For sure.
And left you wanting more.
Absolutely.
Keep exploring. Keep listening, and get ready for what these two incredible artists do next.
They're going to do great things.
Because trust me, you won't want to miss it.